All right.
Stories by the campfire.
Dude, totally righteous. So, I guess, okay, so this is the Blue Fire podcast we're gonna upload to. This is pretty much gonna be the first one.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, dude. Awesome. We got a spooky house in the background and a campfire, and everybody left the campfire because I was too busy freeing up storage to record. So everybody left, like, screw you guys, I'm going to bed. That's funny. Did you ever hear any scary stories from Aunt Kelly?
Not that I can remember, no.
I remember some. I can tell you a couple of good ones if you want.
What you got?
Alright, so she said that, like, sometimes, you know, there were moments where her house was haunted, you know, by Satan, you know, and she would have to say the prayer to get rid of Satan. So a couple things happened. Like, one was the scariest one that it always surprised me, like, how anybody could go through it.
Right.
So it's like, if I remember this correctly, she was just in her bed one morning and, you know, about to get up, but she realized she couldn't even move. Like, she was paralyzed.
Oh, yep. I remember that one.
Mm-hmm. And
like, if I holding the bed sheets down or whatever, right?
Yeah, and so when she tried to get up, there were people in the room saying, "Are you okay? What's going on? Are you okay? What's wrong?" You know, things like that. That's what I remember. She said to me about that story. So that's a pretty scary one. And then it went away, and then I don't remember if she, like, said a prayer after that, but she must have. But and there's one more that was pretty spooky, where she heard, like, flies in her house, and then it got louder and louder, and she went towards the kitchen, and it was coming from one of the cupboards, and she was like, "Okay, Satan be gone." And then that super loud, like, you know, the super loud fly sounds went away, but it was coming right from the cupboard. It was scary.
I was at a friend's house back in high school, and he told me his house was haunted, and I didn't believe him. And it used to be like a restaurant, and so, like, we stayed down in his. So it was a 3-story building. So you had the basement, the main floor, and you had the upstairs. And I remember we were. It was, you know, time for us to go to bed, so we're downstairs, we're sleeping. He's got no windows in his house, so it's complete, like, in the basement.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's, like, completely pitch black, and all of a sudden, all I hear is, like, a cupboard door just slam.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, what is that? And then, like, I heard footsteps going down the stairs, because they had, like, wooden stairs. And I was like, oh boy, like, that's crazy, like, that's not good. And then, like, I hear, like, a plate drop from, like, the 3rd floor. So, like, we're in the basement, out at the 3rd floor, you'd hear, like, a plate drop.
Oh shoot.
You'd hear, like, certain things, like, falling and stuff. And I remember the next morning, I told my buddy about it, and he was all like, yeah, he's like, it happens. And we go upstairs, and mind you, we're the only 2 in the house. There's nobody else in the house. His brother and his sister and his mom all lived on the top floor, but they weren't there. It was just me and my buddy.
Okay, yeah, that's
And
creepy.
we go upstairs, and there's plates on the ground, cupboard doors are open.
Oh.
There's glasses everywhere.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, dude, I refuse to stay there anymore.
That's scary.
Like, nope. And, like, normally I don't believe in that stuff, but I mean, I know they're real, but like, as far as, like, witnessing it, that was the first one I ever witnessed, and I was like, nope, no more, I'm done.
Oh yeah.
Not happening anymore.
Yeah, there was a creepy moment. I don't even think I ever told you this story, but it was just like these 3 different moments that were just kind of eerie, and I knew what was going on, because that's what the devil tries to do. He tries to mess with people. And we were going through a hard time. This is at the time where, like, my mom and dad were, like, getting a divorce, so it was a really hard time. So evil was just like, haha, here we go, we're coming in to haunt you, buddy. And it's like, get out. You know, constantly just saying a prayer, get out. And it worked, you know, but then they would come back, you know, just because of the stuff. But so yeah, this is the creepiest I've ever had. Like, the creepiest type of stuff, like, whenever I've seen something move in the dark, or if I've heard a disembodied voice, like, that's what people call it, but really it's just a demon talking to you. It's creepy as hell. So what happened was, I was in the basement at our old house, just playing games one morning, and my dad was in the living room. My mom was like, "Alright, I'm going to work," because she had a job at the time. She's like, "I'll see you later, Zach." And I'm like, "Alright." And the way that she called down to me was like, first she's like, "Hey, Zach." And I'm like, "Yep." And she's like, "Go to work," blah, blah, blah. We have our little conversation, and then it moves on to, I'm just playing games, and like, not even like 5 minutes go by. I hear her call for me again, and I'm just like, it was just that same tone she had the first time, saying, "Hey, Zach,"
Right.
Like that, just like that. I thought it was her, and I just replied like I would if she came back through the door, um, and she forgot something, or forgot to tell me something. So that's what I thought it was. So I'm like, "What is it, Mom?" Annoyed, and then I look over. She wasn't standing there, and there was no reply. I go up there, and I realized the door. I saw the door was still locked. I didn't. I realized I didn't hear the door open because there's bells on it.
Right.
It'll just ring, and it's really easy to hear that when the basement door was open,
Right.
and the front door was easily heard. But that's one instance where I heard that mimic, like a mimic voice,
Right.
doing that. So, sure enough, another time where I had to get rid of evil,
Right.
so to speak, with prayer. Second story was where it was really just freaky because it imitated my dad's voice a couple times, coming straight from my dad. But he didn't say anything.
Right.
I was like, "What the?" I know that wasn't him, but it sounded like it. That's the
Right.
weird thing about it. Like, it's his voice, but he wouldn't say that. That's the thing that gives it away.
Right.
Like, my dad wouldn't say that. But there's something off about it. Like, once you figure out nobody's there, and you're like, okay, that's fucked up.
Right. Right.
So I guess, how do I explain this one? It was just weird because I was like kind of mocking my dad a little bit. I was like, I just said, "Oh, thanks, Zach, you're so helpful," or something, when I was walking away. And we were having a weird conversation. I don't remember what it was about. We were in the living room. I was in the kitchen, just around the corner from the living room, so he was just sitting on the couch, like super close, right? And after I did that mocking thing, I come back later and we talked about something, and then after we were done talking and I walked away, like we were done with the conversation, I heard him say, and I know this wasn't actually him because whatever imitated him just said, um, uh, "Yeah, thanks, Dad. I appreciate you, Dad. You're welcome." Like, like that. Like, kind of what I said
Right.
about myself, sarcastically. "Oh, thank you, Zach.
Right.
Always helpful, Zach." Just like saying like he should have said thank you, but then whatever voice imitated my dad said that. But I was like, I turned the corner and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Huh?" And he was like just staring at the TV, and I was like, "What did you say?" And he's like, "Nothing. I wasn't saying nothing." Because he's always honest. I know he's always honest.
Right.
He never lied to me, ever. That's what I love about my dad.
Right.
Watch this, Dad. You're awesome. You never lied to me, man. High five. So, yeah. I mean, that was just creepy stuff like that. Little things to mess with you. And just creepy. It's like, what the hell? Get away from me. Get away from my family. Get out of here. Over time, you get used to it, and it's just like, not again, son of a bitch. It's just stupid over time. Once you understand what's happening, it's easier to get rid of it, but at the same time, you gotta think like, okay, what's going on in my life that's bringing this in? But it doesn't really happen anymore. That was just a hard time, so I think evil was just taking advantage of us, and that was my answer that came to my head. third time was when we were outside going to shoot off fireworks, and this was the last time I ever heard anything imitate my dad's voice, and I'm glad it was. um, you know, we were going to shoot fireworks, we were really excited about it, and we were just talking, I don't remember what about, but like, I was just, saying something like, oh man, what was it? Oh yeah, I said a joke that we would say to each other, like, just something that we would say at the time. I don't remember what it was. So I was like, I have a good story, but I don't remember it. Sorry, guys. End of the video.
Until next time.
Until next time. So I remember. That'd be funny. But yeah, I said the joke, and then the important, like, creepy part was, you know, like, the thing that imitated my dad was, he said, "That's stupid." Like, right after we were done laughing about it. So I thought, wait a minute, he doesn't say that. That's weird. That was just creepy. I mean, that sounded more like it was using the tone of one of my coworkers, but in my dad's voice. Because at work, one of my coworkers would say, "That's stupid," just like that. And then, like, just about, like, he would say it to, like, the customers, like, "That's stupid." But
Right.
that's what it reminded me of. So that's why I'm like, nah, my dad wouldn't say that joke was stupid. I'm like, did you, like, why do you think it's stupid? I mean, I thought we always say it all the time. And he's like, "I'm sorry if you thought that I was thinking it was stupid, but I didn't say that." And I was like, trying to convince my dad, dude, we gotta say the prayer to get rid of evil. It just imitated your voice. He wasn't catching on, so he kept, like, saying, like, you know, I didn't say anything. I'm like, dude, something was imitating your voice. And he's like, okay. Then we both said the prayer, "Get out of here, evil," you know, in the name of Jesus. And so then we had fun that night, shooting off fireworks and stuff, and it was good.
Nice.
It was just these little things where evil would try to come back and try to mock us, try to make it bad and make a big scene, you know, whatever their goal was. They were just attacking us. I say attack, you know, that's their way of doing it. So, yeah, that was a few stories that were just creepy that I don't think I really shared with you, but they were fun to share in the pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and there was a really cool thing, like, you remember this when we were behind your house at the time when I was just a kid? I must have been like 10 or something. And I was trying to, we were going back by the cornfield. Remember that? By the woods.
Could be.
And there was like a huge, like, puddle. It was like a deep puddle. I think maybe a tiny pond or something. And it was just ice. And I was like, I'm gonna try walking on it. And
Oh, yeah.
you remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap, it's gonna break. And then it broke through, and it was the coolest moment. You were like a superhero. You were like Spider-Man. You were just like, whoosh, swept me out of there. And I was like, whoa, thanks, dude. You saved my freaking life. Who knows how deep that was? I could have died.
Right.
But yeah, that's like pretty much how, like, I never forgot about that. And especially since I was planning on this, like, podcast episode, I had to share that story. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, wow. Awesome. Because the way that it happened was you actually grabbed my arm and pulled me, and then I like jumped back with you because I was like, oh shit, well, better get out of there.
Yeah, it gets
So that's
pretty
cool.
muddy back there.
That's scary. But yeah, that was a few stories I had in mind.
Alrighty. Well, next time we'll have to get a new topic and
Yeah.
go from there.
Sounds good. Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you could think of that? It could be anything, a funny story or.
No, not really.
Okay.
So, no, I think I'm good, but I'll definitely write some stuff down for next time.
Yeah, I'll have to get some notes.
Yeah.
Those were just the things that I had in mind.
Yeah. No,
But I
they were
think it
good.
was perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, they were good. Alright, podcast. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Until next time.
We should say, until we see you next time, Scrubs. That'd be funny.
Screw.
See you later, Scrubs.
You should have the, I believe I can fly.
Oh yeah, that should be
as your ending.
And yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yep.
Keep believing that you can fly, people. I believe I can fly. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Don't forget to subscribe to my original channel, people.
Woo.
Yeah, thanks for being part of this, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You ready?
I believe I can fly.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the
Oh shit!
sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and